Well, CBN chief political analyst David Brody is with us. And David, it looks like President Trump has a hard path forward. What are the chances of him sweeping the remaining states?
Well, Gordon, I'm going to take it like this because I've been thinking a lot about how do we relate this to everybody and just kind of dumb it down, if you will. Think of it like a football game, right? Donald Trump down by a field goal. Time is running out. He's got 4 downs, first and 10, second, third, and fourth down, right? You got 4 chances to get it in the end zone. The first chance, let's just assume he wins Georgia, North Carolina, because he's got to have those. The first chance is for him to win Pennsylvania and Nevada. If he does that, he's the president of the United States. But if he fails on first down, he goes to second down. Second down, once again, Georgia, North Carolina. Then he needs to win Pennsylvania and hope that Arizona goes back and goes into his category. And we'll talk about that if you want in a moment. That's second down. If that fails, we're at third down. Third down is a canvassing and a recount of Michigan and Wisconsin. A harder sell for sure, but that's third down. If that all fails, then, Gordon, we're in the Hail Mary stage, and that's where the Supreme Court and many of these legal lawsuits come in. And if he can potentially have a Hail Mary at the end of this thing in December, possibly, late November, that's where we could end up.
Well, the Federalist came out with a post yesterday talking about vote dumping in Michigan, and 2 unusual cases. One, 130,000 votes being added into the tally, and every single one of them for Biden. Another one where a county that broke 29% to Trump 4 years ago is now breaking 30% to Biden this time. It just seems to be some unusual things happening in the vote tally. What's your take on that? Is this something that the president's legal team will pursue?
100%. They're going to pursue that. And we've heard a lot about that on Twitter. As a matter of fact, Twitter tried to, well, I'd say we heard a lot about it on Twitter. Then it got out there, but Twitter tried to shut all of that vote dumping down. But that's a whole nother issue. But look what's happening in Pennsylvania right now. The new hanging chad could be cured ballots, C-U-R-E-D, these cured ballots. In other words, there are ballots coming into, especially down in that Philadelphia area, that either have a smudged signature or it hasn't been signed. And so what they're doing, normally those ballots would be discounted. That's not happening in Philadelphia. What they're doing is they're getting the voter, long story short, but they're bringing the voter back in to say, is this your signature? Is this correct? And then go ahead and counting the vote potentially if it does match up. Well, that sounds like, okay, that's nice to do. One vote, you have the whole vote situation there. But well, hold on for a second. The rest of the counties in Pennsylvania aren't doing that. They're not curing ballots. So you have Philadelphia County, a huge county, and Montgomery and Bucks and all that, curing ballots, but you don't have curing ballots going on in many of the rural portions of the state. That's also going to be a part of a legal contention.
Well, if it turns into a lawsuit, which it already has, it's already gone that route, then how long are we looking at before we actually have a declared winner that everyone says you won?
Well, it's going to be expedited. And what does expedited mean exactly? Look, the bottom line is this. There are laws that basically say that you have to stop counting. You have to literally stop counting all votes in America, all states, by November 23rd. Has to stop. So we know it's probably going to go on at least until November 23rd in terms of all of the ballot counting, even though we've heard North Carolina November 12th, we've heard Pennsylvania November 6th. But the bottom line is you have to literally put down the pen, the number 2 pencil, if you will, on November 23rd. At that point, you could see something maybe in late November or early December, but definitely sometime before Christmas. 2020, I tell you what, it's more of the anti-love letter from 2020 to all of us.
All right. 2020 is going to be in history as anti-love letter year. All right. The GOP, assuming it doesn't change by the end of the month, it looks like it's going to hold on to the Senate. What does that mean going forward, assuming Joe Biden wins the presidential election?
Well, at this point, if Biden becomes the next president of the United States, it's everything, Gordon. It's everything for Republicans. It will be the difference between court packing or non-court packing. In other words, there will be no court packing if Senate Republicans maintain control. And I can go on and on in terms of a list of, whether or not Supreme Court justices are nominated. There'll be more centrists. I can go on and on. Bottom line is it'll be huge. And most likely we're looking at 51-49 is my sense right now in terms of Republicans keeping control. There's another Senate race, obviously, in Georgia that has to be determined sometime in January. Gordon, I did want to mention, and this does relate to the Senate, but also to the presidential race, it's interesting to look at the electorate. I've been doing some number crunching, and you look at Donald Trump's vote of the Latino vote. He's up 4% from 2016 with Latinos across the country. He's up 4% among the black vote as well. But he is down 2% in the non-college white educated voter. And if you go into Michigan and Wisconsin, you see those numbers even more. He's down about 2 or 3%. Look, Gordon, right there. That's game, set, match if Joe Biden becomes president. We'll see.
All right. Well, Republicans, sort of against all odds, the only one I heard saying this was John Waggy, that they were going to pick up seats in the House. Is there hand-wringing on the Democrat side in terms of they were predicting it? They thought they would get the supermajority, and then Republicans were predicting it, but it looks like the GOP added seats and the Democrats lost. What does that mean?
Well, that's right. I mean, look, it looks like Democrats obviously are going to continue. Well, they'll have control of the House. But you're right. What happened to the blue wave? I mean, John Waggy was correct. I mean, there was not a blue wave. And indeed, there's going to be a few House seats picked up by Republicans. They can actually go more than just +2 or 3. It could be a lot more than that. And they're doing well in Orange County, the OC out in California. Some of the districts they lost to Democrats in 2018, they're starting to pick some of those up. So bottom line is, Nancy Pelosi is under a considerable amount of pressure now in terms of her leadership at this point. There's a movement by centrists, if there are such a thing in the Democrat Party, but there are. I guess, at this point, centrists are still to the left. But, the bottom line is Nancy Pelosi could be in a bit of trouble. We'll see. It's something to bear watching.
Okay. When do you predict the 2024 election cycle will start?
I'll be honest with you. It started at the Republican National Convention about a couple of months ago when Nikki Haley was on stage and Mike Pence was on stage, and there were others as well. This has already begun. But in true earnest, I mean, in answer to your question, let me think. Maybe in about 2 to 3 months. I mean, it's going to start right away. And the odds-on favorite, do you like how I'm already starting with the odds-on favorite? The odds-on favorite, obviously people will put Mike Pence there, but you got to watch Nikki Haley. Those would be the two to beat. I'm already talking 4 years ago. I can't even I'm in an electoral coma at this point. All
right. Well, it seems like the cycles never end. And the good news, it gives you a lot of job security, David.
Good point, Gordon. Glad to hear that from you, by the way.
All right. Well, David, thanks for being with us.